Hello there, thank you for staying with us and welcome to Channels Beam on Channels Television. I'm Victor Matthias. Now, the African Union as well as the Nigerian government has set aside the 1st of November every year to celebrate the African youth. And this is to promote the increased recognition of youth as key agents for social change, economic growth, and sustainable development in all areas of African society. Today on the program, we will be looking at the theme of this year's celebration, both on the national and continental front, and how it can be achieved. And of course, let's first get a sense of how this can be achieved on a continental front. And we are joined by Nancy Saibor. She is the founder, CEO of Actions for Aid Development and Empowerment. She joins us via Zoom from Yaoundé in Cameroon. It's a pleasure to have you on the program. We also have Fiona Nabud Kenya. She has a strong passion for excellence, innovation, and a desire to grow and share her skills and knowledge with others. She joins us from Kampala in Uganda. And we also have Ines Jidai. She is a Pan-African and gender equality advocate, sustainability visionary, and a youth development and inclusion specialist. She joins us from Tunis in Tunisia. It's a pleasure to have all of you join us today on the program. But Nancy kicks out this conversation for us. I mean, yes, today is the Africa Youth Day, and again, the theme revolves around African youths building the Africa that they want to see. How conducive is the environment for African youths to begin to provide or build these solutions that would, take them to this El Dorado that they are so much longing for?
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you, and happy African Youth Day. I'm so excited to be here today, and I'm happy to see Ines. Ines is a champion that we've worked together, and I want to salute your work that you do in the north of Africa, and it's my pleasure meeting my young comrades here. So the theme for this year is youth-led solutions for building the Africa we want. I believe that African youth have the talent. We have what it takes to bring Africa to where we want. But the problem here is being included, giving us the table, giving us the opportunity to share our ideas and share our solutions. I think I want to take this moment to encourage governments from different African states to give us the space to include us in decisions making, because having the solutions and not being invited to the table, it starts amount to nothing. So I would plead the governments of different countries of Africa, the continent, to give us a space to include us in decision-making policy so that we can share the solutions, because we are the solution and we have the solution. So that's what I would like to start with for now. Thank you.
All right, sure. I'll come back to you in just a moment. But let me also just quickly hear from Ines, moving forward now, looking at the policies that we have now. Ines, would you say they are favorable for, for the young people to do what they have to do to, move that change that they want to see? Ines, can you hear me? Well, Fiona, if you could take that for us. Let's look at the policies generally, on the African continent. Do you think they are conducive enough? Do you think they give the African youth the ability, the space, the flexibility, to move on and, make that change that they want to see?
Thank you very much, Victor. I think for me, the policies range from one country to another. For now, I can say that some of the policies, maybe let me speak for the country like Uganda, that have been made, you find that they hinder the progress of some of these youths to be part of the processes, the local government, the government itself. So I think, like my colleagues, we would benefit more from the youth than vice versa. If I have someone of 60 years into government making a decision for an 18 to 30 or 40 year, it doesn't make sense. So I would say on a scale of 1 to 100, it's really still on 20. But if we can include more youths on these platforms to participate in decision making. It will benefit more the youth because they are the end users. And if we have to benefit from them and their good work they're doing, the innovativeness they carry, we must involve them in the processes. And these processes also include their policy making. Yes, Victor.
All right, so how can we do that? How can we push for this inclusion? I mean, because it's one of the things that, people keep talking about. Oh, you need to do this, you need to include more youths. But again, you'll be told anytime, any day that, you just can't get this on the platter. You have to fight for it. So what kind of fight do you think African youth should be putting or pushing forward to ensure that they are included, on every front that decisions are being made?
I think the African youth actually have already done what it requires, but it's the rigidity in our government or in our leadership. People who have been in this position for so long, Victor, they can't not leave office. They refuse to retire. They hold on to it dearly. For me, I think one of the things which is the most affecting disease in Africa is holding on to power. Transition of power has failed to be seamless. If you can see from that aspect or from that area, that same cancer, it's across all these other departments in governments, actually. You find people have studied, they have master's degree, they have all it takes, but then these guys are not given opportunity to serve. For me, I think if we could inform the government or our officials that, you look here, in the government, if I have, we could have like how we are going into women emancipation and we have women and men balanced on work. We could also do the same thing for the youths, have them to share. The same share given to the elderly could be given to the young people. We'll be amazed at how much energy they bring into play into the sector. But I feel like the young people are really doing a lot. They are CEOs. Nasia, she's already a CEO. I'll tell you by myself, I've done so much, but how do we then penetrate into the spaces? We have to be recognized by the government itself, but how? Maybe by being part of that very process, Victor.
All right, let me just quickly go back to Nancy again. Nancy, speaking about collaborations, which is one of the things that we've seen in the past work in many places, especially in Nigeria. I have seen that work, for young people who are making their case on a daily basis. But how is that going to be possible on an African front? Nancy.
Very possible. I'm going to talk for Cameroon. I feel like at some point, as a young Cameroonian, what we lack is like coalition. We want to do things. We want to be, they call it in French, the flambeau. We want to hold the flambeau and move forward. So I want to use this platform to say that we coming together and forming a coalition is going to make our voices to be heard. And like we can see for the Nigerian youth, I know Nigerians will complain that there's still a lot to do, but we can use Nigerian youth as a model to other countries. The unity in what you guys do, we can see through the NSAS protest. Young people were in front because they came to fellowship. So we have to come together as one. So I will encourage that we come together as one, be it as a Cameroonian, be it as an African, because the more we come together and use the social media platform for our voice to be heard, they're going to create us space on that table. But if we don't do anything, we just hold our hands and keep on criticizing, there's not going to be a platform for us for our voices to be heard. So I will insist on the fact that we learn from other countries and how they make engaging young people. We use it in our different countries. We come together as young people and space will be provided for us by force, because I see that we are a force of young people that know exactly what they want. We just need the space on the table when they're making the decision. So I encourage collaborations, I encourage coalitions of young people that understand what it takes and that have what it takes to bring Africa to what we want. Thank you.
Oh, of course. So let's look at it now from the perspective of the African Union. How well would you say they're doing, in trying to galvanize, young people and empower them? I understand today there was a change in guard. The new envoy has been appointed by the AU Commission chair. So that is on one part. And let me just quote him today in his address. He said, "Allow me to use this opportunity to encourage member states to accelerate and intensify investments in youth and increase youth engagement to ensure a future where every young African has aspirations, hope, and dignity." He adds that as young people, you must resolve to overcome obstacles in our path and build a resilient and robust future that is predicated on the values values of the Africa we want. Now, this is the AU speaking. How confident are you that they would, push young people, to the limits to ensure that young people create that Africa that they want?
I believe that the AU at its level has created platforms and programs for Africans or for young Africans to portray their skills. But now the levels at us, are we responsible enough? Are we looking for this information? Are we taking it to the grassroots? Because sometimes we have the tendency of thinking that access to information just ends at the level of the government and the people. But we as young leaders, we need to get this information, we need to get all of those opportunities and bring them to the grassroots. Because at the level of the AU, they have all of this platform, but young people will keep on complaining that they don't have access to this information. So I think that we as young leaders that have access to this information and of these opportunities that the AU and the UN bring, we have to take this information and take it back to the grassroots so that every African youth, they feel concerned, they feel like the African Union is working for us. And at the level, when this information are being shared and work are not to be done, we need to also hold ourselves to be accountable, because we cannot say that the AU is not doing what it's supposed to do. They're doing what they're supposed to do, but we are supposed to be responsible as young people to making sure that we do what it to go to that level.
All right, let me just hold you there for a bit. I know I'm bringing Ines. She was with us earlier on, but unfortunately, internet connection made her fall out of the conversation. But Ines is back now, and she's joining us again from Tunis in Tunisia. Ines, again, thanks for joining us on the program. Quite a little bit of water has gone under the bridge, since the conversation started. But, in your own perspective, we're looking at the commitment of the AU to ensure that African youth are supported, given all the maximum support they need and require to effect the change like the theme of today's celebration says. But how confident are you, that this would be done by the AU?
Thank you, Victor, first of all, for inviting me to the program. I'm really pleased to join you.
The pleasure is all ours.
And I wish a happy Africa Youth Day for all African youth through this program. Actually, throughout my experience, I have been through different programs sponsored and organized by the African Union. And what I know is that the African Union is doing their best to provide as much possibility, as much opportunity as possible for youth. So we have now different programs all over the year, different opportunities, different funding opportunities, capacity building, workshops, gathering, intergenerational dialogues. Still, there is a lot to be done at the level of grassroots, I think. And also all this information are not really shared with the grassroots. So I think here lays the role of our ambassadors, alumni, advocates, and activists to share this information, to share these opportunities with their communities. Also, I think that that Africa is vibrating with the potential in their youth, with energy, and I think a bit of mentorship to those youth, follow-up, funding would really lift them up and keep them straight to their final goals, I think.
All right, so are you saying we need to do more awareness? Are you saying AU needs to create more awareness for young people to be aware of all of these opportunities you're talking about?
Yes. Not only the African Union, but also youth who are already aware of those opportunities can share them in their community. This is why in different programs, we find at the end of the program an advocate, an alumni, some ambassadors of the program, in order to share the idea, share the news, share the opportunities with their communities, also to do the briefing afterwards of all what has been done. So the opportunities already exist. Still, our youth need mentorship. They need mentorship, they need follow-up, and they need some people to back them up, especially at the level of funding, I think. So the main obstacle for youth, for their projects, for their development projects, the main challenge is to find funding for their projects. So the funding exists, but they don't know really how to get it, how to write the right proposal, how to go to the right person, to the right organism in order to ask for funding. So sharing all this information would be really helpful for our youth, I think.
All right, let's hope all of that, would, eventually pan out and play out, the way you've said, and also the way Fiona as well as Nancy have also said. But I have to say thank you to you, Ines Jide, joining us from Tunis, Fiona Nabud-Kenya joining us from Kampala in Uganda, as well as Nancy Saibo joining us from Yaoundé in Cameroon. Again, happy Africa Youth Day to all of you, and thank you for joining us today on the program and sharing your thoughts.
Thank you.
Let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll take a look at how the celebration is going on in Nigeria. That's in a moment. Please stay.